Hello and welcome back to another episode of this week's watches, and I want to start off this episode as always by saying a big thank you. Every single week has been fantastic, and that is thanks to you guys and girls. You keep sending in more watches, you keep emailing more watches you want to sell, you keep buying more. I mean, it's just incredible, so thank you all very much. Now, Danny isn't here with us today, unfortunately, so all of the setup with the camera and everything is by myself and Leah, so I apologise if it's not as good as usual or if there's any sort of discrepancies. Please bear with us, that's more his forte now. I don't really do anything with it anymore. So yes, we will do our best. Now, as always, in the description there is a link to every watch we're showing here today. That will take you straight to the website where you can purchase the watch and you can see the additional details such as the price, because we don't mention prices in this video typically. The reason for that, I do get asked every now and again, the reason we don't mention price in these videos is because you may watch this video a year down the line, see the price of a watch and think that's what your watch is worth if you happen to think that. It might not be the case, prices change, and it's also just, that's not what this is about. Whilst we are showing the watches that are for sale, I'm not trying to sell you these watches, I'm showing you what we have for sale, if that makes sense. There's also a timestamp in the description, so you can skip to the specific watch you want to see. If you're only here to see the Speedmaster reduced, let's say, you can skip directly to that watch and that takes you straight there, so you can skip all of the rambling. Now, all being well, if you're watching this on the Saturday it comes out, I will be getting married, all being well, which is kind of crazy to say. So next week there will be a ring on this finger, and life will pretty much be the same, apart from there will be a Mrs. Kibble in my world, which is kind of crazy to think, but very exciting all at the same time. Now, the reason I'm telling you guys this is not because I want to overshare and brag about everything, but mainly because if you are trying to call me on Saturday, even probably this entire weekend, you're not going to get an answer. So please, if you're watching this and you're thinking, I'm going to give him a call, don't. If you don't get an answer, leave a message, leave an email, choose one, don't send an email message and Instagram and all of them. Just be patient, I will get back to you. And if it's that desperate, just buy the watch straight away and it secures it as yours anyway, right? We have a lot of people sort of and ah over one minute detail, and they're waiting for a response, and then someone else buys it in the meantime. So don't be that person and then get annoyed at me for it. You know who you are out there. So yeah, I just wanted to get that out of the way. Please don't bombard me this weekend. I am going to be having a relaxing weekend for the very rare time that ever happens. So please respect that. But Monday I'll be back in and I'll be cracking on as usual. Now, what's on wrist? I'm actually wearing the watch I'm going to be wearing on the wedding day, and that is my Fears Brunswick Brown. They only made 5 of these. This is my personal watch. I've got it paired on a strap tailor suede brown, which we sell on the website if you're interested. We have a couple of their suede options. I'm a big fan of what David over at Strap Tailor creates, and I'm a big fan of the company in general. So there's going to be more of his straps eventually on our sites that we will be offering, no doubt. But that's what's on wrist. I'm absolutely loving it, and I think you guys and girls are going to like it too. But that's enough of the rambling. Let's get on to the watches on the table, and where are we going to start? I think we're going to have to start with this absolutely incredible Grand Seiko. Let's take a closer look at this. What a watch to begin this week's episode with. Have a look at this. This is the limited edition Grand Seiko Elegance, which is a line based on one of their vintage models, and you can see that very clearly just by the design language here. Beautifully simple, very classic. I almost think this was, Grand Seiko at the time, their response to like the Calatrava and all these classic Swiss watches. This was them saying, hey, look guys, we can produce something as good, as beautiful, as elegant. And they have. And this is a testament to their modern capabilities, just the same way this reference was the sort of testament to their vintage capabilities back in the day. Now, the reference to this one is SBGW253G, and inside this is the manually wound Grand Seiko Caliber 9S64. And this watch is from January 2018. You'll have to excuse all the noise. Clark & Wells just ridiculously loud 24/7. Guys, so as I was saying, this is from January 2018, and it is limited to 1,960 pieces. Now, this is sold out across, the Grand Seiko official sellers, so there's only pre-owned examples, and it has become quite a hot commodity within the pre-owned world. So these are selling, I believe, a little bit above what the retail originally was. Now, this example, as you can see, is worn, but very well worn. The strap is in beautiful condition, as is the buckle, and as I said, this does come with its box and paperwork. A fine example, absolutely gorgeous. And let's show it on wrist and talk dimensions. And here we go on my just shy of 7-inch wrist. It looks absolutely at home. 38mm by 45.5mm lug to lug, only 11mm thick and 19mm lug, so a little bit awkward on that lug length, but not impossible. There's plenty of brands out there now that are producing fantastic strap options for 19mm because it is a big market. But this strap really does work on this watch. Absolutely gorgeous. Go check this one out on the website. From Grand Seiko, we're going to switch it up completely and go to a 1981 Rolex Oyster Perpetual date. Now for something that really is timeless from Rolex. This is the Rolex Oyster Perpetual date. Not to be mistaken for the date just, which is a 36mm. This is a 34mm, so slightly smaller, but still, because of that Oyster case, it does wear bigger than that would lead you to believe. I always feel these wear more like a 36, the 34s do, and the 36 more like a 37, 38mm. That's just my personal opinion. Come try it on for yourself and see for yourself. But this is a beautiful silver dial, nice original loom on there, nice hands as well. Obviously the Oyster Perpetual, meaning Oyster case, Perpetual, so movement, automatic, and date obviously indicating the date with the Cyclops over there. Nice original screwed down Rolex crown. It does compare on its full size original Oyster bracelet. And what makes this model really interesting is it's from circa 1981 and it does come with its box and paperwork, including original stickers of the reference and serial number on the box, which you just don't see often. So this is one of those really nice examples where it just looks fantastic, but also has all the extras which just make it that little bit sweeter, which is really cool. Now behind this closed screw down case back is an automatic Rolex caliber 3035, a very famous movement, and as I said, this is circa 1981. That is the complete bracelet, so full size. So if I put it on my wrist, you'll see that it wears well and it's got a lot of space. Now here it is. Let's go straight onto this. This isn't how we usually do it, but here we go. So here it is on my wrist. You can see it works. It doesn't have to be bigger than this. You know, I think you'll be surprised by how well this wears. The great thing as well is you've got the drilled lug holes, so you can swap this bracelet out for a leather strap nice and easy, and this would look fantastic on a brown leather strap as well. But the dimensions of this one, as I say, are 34mm by 42mm lug to lug, only 12.5mm thick and 19mm lugs. So again, a little bit awkward on that lug size, but maybe pick this and the Grand Seiko up and then you can switch and swap between straps. So there you go, there's a solution. But go check this one out on the website. From there, we're going to switch it up to some Omegas, which we've got at the top right here. We're going to start with, actually, let's start with the Speedmaster Reduced. So next up, we have something that isn't as it first seems. This is a Omega Speedmaster Reduced. Now, for those of you who know your watches, you'll know the Reduced means it's the smaller size, which actually comes in around 39mm, 38.5 depending on who you ask, but I measure it around 39mm, and it's automatic, so it's not manually wound like the classic Speedmaster. Now, the reason this reference, and if you've not done your research and you just go straight to our website and see this, you're going to think it's quite expensive, because if you look at other Speedmaster Reduced that look similar, you can get them for a lot less. This is a collector's piece. The reason being, this reference is the final Speedmaster Reduced they made before they discontinued it. Now, they discontinued this model in 2009, and this was their final iteration of the Reduced with the upgraded bracelet. So this has the far better bracelet and better clasp. It also has a slightly upgraded movement, which we'll talk about in a second, and it has a sapphire crystal. So all of these upgrades were done only for a short period and discontinued in 2009. And this one is from October 2009, so the final year they were making it. This was probably part of the last batch of watches that were being sold. So really cool to see, and the reference to this is 3539.50.00. So I'd highly recommend doing some research if you're interested in this, but you're unsure why it's more expensive. Do the research, you'll see, and you'll understand that this is quite a rare and special Speedmaster Reduced. Now, beating away inside here is the automatic Omega caliber 3220, which for those of you who know is a stacked movement. What this means is, if we have a look on the side, you'll see the crown is off-center to the pushers. So they're in different positions. Hopefully you can see that. So the pushers are higher than what the crown is. Reason being, there's an automatic module with automatic movement, with a chronograph module built on top. So basically, there's two movements essentially inside here operating out of one automatic system, Hopefully that makes sense. It doesn't really affect you in terms of your wearability. It does affect you in terms of your service costs when that time comes, because as I say, there is essentially two movements. That's the only thing to keep in mind with these reduced models, but absolutely gorgeous nonetheless. They're shown on wrist and taut dimensions. Go on my wrist. Now, I used to own a Speedmaster reduced and I absolutely loved it. Now, personally, I would own the full professional just because I prefer the size on my wrist, but this still looks really, really good and it wears really well, especially at 39mm by 44.5mm lug to lug, 12.5mm thick and 18mm lug. So endless options right there on the lugs. You can put any sort of strap on this, and that's the good thing about Omegas. Even the reduced, they are all strap monsters. Now this one's in fantastic condition, as you can see, for its age, so go put this one up on the website. Now from the reduced, let's go over to the Seamaster, an absolutely incredible watch. Let's have a closer look. Next up is another classic from Omega, this time the Omega Seamaster Professional 300 Diver. Now the exact reference to this one is really long, so I won't bother saying it off. You can see it on the website if you need to, but this is a discontinued model which is actually part of the Co-Axial range, so it has the Co-Axial movement, which we'll talk about more in a second. It has the sapphire crystal, it has a sapphire crystal, but it has the ceramic bezel and a ceramic dial, which is black, as you can see, so they both catch that light beautifully, a really gorgeous shimmer, which is very hard to describe unless you've seen these in the metal. Now they discontinued this for the wave dial, and you be the judge of whether you prefer that or not. Personally, I prefer the non-wave dial, but I think they're both great options either way, and these are very, very affordable at under £3,000, which to me is just very well. I mean, we're actually going to be the only one of a few that are under £3,000 in the UK, so maybe we're just very well priced on it, but still, that's a lot of value for money for a professional dive watch with helium escape valve, ceramic, sapphire, very high quality, well built bracelet, just a really good watch. And the good thing is this has just come back from a full service and polish, so it's looking fantastic and it's running beautifully, so you've not got to worry about any service or anything like that. Now this watch is from May 2012. It does come with its full box and papers. Unfortunately, a little cushion in the box has gone missing. I can't seem to source another one at the moment, so it will just come like that, but this will be in a nice pouch and very well protected as always on shipping, so don't worry. Inside here is the automatic Omega caliber 2500, which is their coaxial movement, a very well built, well regarded movement among the industry. But a great watch. Let's show it on wrist and taut dimensions. And here we go on my just shy of 7-inch wrist. You can see it wears very, very well. These are always fantastic. At 41mm by 47mm lug to lug, Omega certainly know what they're doing. Only 13mm thick and 20mm lug, so endless options on the straps. There's actually a couple of companies that do fitted rubber straps, which I think would look fantastic on this, so go check it out. From there to a automatic Cartier Tank Solo XL. This is the biggest. Let's have a close look at this. So next up is a watch we can all agree is absolutely stunning, timeless and beautifully designed. That is the Cartier Tank. And this is the Tank Solo XL Automatic. So you'll be the judge of whether this size is right for you. They produce many different sizes. I personally prefer the slightly smaller references. However, this still wears really well and I could totally get away with it. So you be the decider. And the automatic obviously has the sweep in seconds and it has the date. Some of the Quartz models, like the one I personally owned a few years ago, I think it was a few years ago now, I have no idea, but that was just the simple two-hander and slightly smaller. But the reference to this is WSTA 009, or also known as the 3800. This one's from June 2019. It does come with its full box and papers, original strap and deployant buckle. Again, you be the decider on whether you prefer the deployant or the pin buckle, but this one comes with the deployant. Nice case back right there. Inside is an automatic caliber that Cartier use. It's very difficult finding exactly which one they use because I think they vary in some years and things like that. But either way, a very good and reliable movement. You haven't got to worry about it. And as I say, from June 2019. But the important thing about this is the XL size. So let's show it on wrist and talk dimensions. And here we go on my wrist. Now you can see I can totally get away with this size. There's no question about it. It doesn't wear big. It doesn't wear overhanging. It's not thick. It's a very, very good and comfortable size. But for me, aesthetically, I just prefer the smaller watches. That's just a personal preference. However, this is gorgeous. And if this was gifted to me, I would be perfectly happy, that's for sure. So the size-wise of this is 31mm by 40.5mm. So for some of you out there, you're probably hearing 31mm thinking that's tiny. You know, but when it's a rectangular watch like this, you've got to take into mind that it doesn't wear the same as a round watch. So I'd highly recommend coming to try this on if you're unsure. 7.5mm thick, so super thin and low to the wrist, and 23mm lugs. Again, awkward lug size, but this strap, the original, is classic. It works. It can be toned up. It can be toned down. It just looks brilliant. So go check this one out on the website. From there to a watch you will probably not see around often, and that is this absolutely awesome Bell & Ross, believe it or not, in this case shape. Let's take a closer look at this. Next up is a Bell & Ross you do not see often. Now this is known as the Bell & Ross Vintage 120 Quartz chronograph. As you can see, it's quartz and it's a chronograph. Now Bell & Ross are usually their square cases, that's what made them sort of famous, if you will, whereas this is a more traditional looking watch, hence the vintage in the name, as they like to call these references. Now to be specific, this reference is the 120.A.S15028, and inside this is a ETA Quartz caliber 251.262, and as you can probably see just there if you were paying attention, the chronograph went round and the center seconds, or the center hand, that's right there, jumped forward 1. So that's actually a minute counter. So it's got a coupled minute counter in the center, and you have an interesting 12-hour over there. And this is your 1/10 of a second, which will catch up and tell you where you were. So really interesting to see as we reset it back to 0. A very, very interesting watch. It does come on its original Bell & Ross strap, Bell & Ross buckle, Bell & Ross signed case back, everything like that. And it's from circa 2000s, and it comes with its box and paperwork as well, which is fantastic to see. A really cool watch, and let's show it on wrist and talk dimensions. And here we go on my wrist, absolutely classic proportions at 38mm by 45mm lug to lug, only 12mm thick and 20mm lug, so endless options if you're not a fan of this combination. However, I think it looks really good. It kind of reminds me of the older IWCs from sort of like the 2000s or the 2010s. Really, really cool piece, one worth checking out if you're into this sort of thing, so go check it out. From a very interesting and rare chronograph to something that is an absolute classic, incredibly well built and stupid value for money, that's this Longines. Let's have a closer look. Next up is a very cool watch from Longines. This is part of their master collection. This is the chronograph in black. They also did it in white. I remember selling this back at retail, and this watch, you know, it goes quite far back. For example, this model is from March 2011 with its box and paperwork when it was sold. So you can see they've been making this model for quite a while, and it's been doing very well for them. Absolute beautiful proportions, beautiful case, you know, really good design. This is a worn example, so you will see scratches, but nice automatic movement in there. And that is the automatic Longines caliber L651.3 as they call it. And the reference to this is L2.629.51.5. There's a lot of numbers in there, probably missed one as well, so go check it out on the website to be certain. But a very good design, very classic looking watch for a very good price. You'll be surprised, you know, you don't have to break the bank to get a true Swiss automatic chronograph. There are plenty of options within Longines, within Tissot, you know, and even if you go into vintage, you'll find some great options in the manually wound sector as opposed to automatic, but modern, there's plenty of options, this being one of them. But let's show it on wrist and talk dimensions. And here we go on my wrist. As you can see, it wears really well, especially at 39.5mm by 46mm lug to lug. Only 11.5mm thick and 21mm lugs. Is clearly an episode of slightly awkward lug sizes, but hey, this strap combination really works, and there's plenty of options out there, you will find them. So go check this one out on the website for a steal. From classic, let's go to something that's almost avant-garde and so different with this Unimatic. Let's have a closer look. Next up is a Unimatic, which is incredibly white, so hopefully this isn't blown out on the camera, and I apologise if it is. As I said, I haven't got Danny here to work his magic on the settings, but this is a brand collaboration with a company that I always absolutely butcher, Mihara, Yasuhiro, I think that's how you say it. I've probably absolutely butchered that, so my apologies. More easily, it is the reference U1-MY. Now, this reference became a very big hit because it's a completely white watch, white dial, white hands, white strap, you know, it is all white. However, there are subtle tones. In this case, they've made it like almost patinaed and aged. So there are marks and sort of scratches and age around the edges. They did it on purpose. Some people see this watch, and this is brand new unworn, by the way, and they think, oh, it's heavily worn, but it isn't. That's just the design they've gone with. You know, you be the judge of whether you like that or not. Only 100 of these were made. We have sold one in the past, so it's cool to get another one in unworn. Inside this, because it's from the older generation from 2020, is the automatic Seiko NH35A. As a lot of you know, they're now using Sellita, or they're starting to use Sellita more, which is really interesting. So this one still has the Seiko 2020 box and papers, spare strap as well, as you'd expect. But let's show us one on wrist and talk dimensions. Here we go on my wrist. Now I've not fastened the strap, so hopefully it doesn't roll off. Oh, there we go, as I'm saying it. But a really cool design. I mean, you be the judge of whether you want an all white watch. It's usually an all black watch, so it's kind of interesting to see the opposite. But this is 40.5mm by 49mm lug to lug, only 14mm thick and 22mm lugs. Endless options, however, the white really does work. I mean, I'd be interested to see someone put this on like a black NATO or something, see how that contrast looks. But go check this one out on the website. Now let's switch gears completely, go back to vintage and go back to classic with this Certina. It's gorgeous. Let's have a closer look. Here is the Certina. So this is a watch I've been looking forward to finally bringing to the website. It was just in service, so it took a little while, but this is one of the nicest examples of this I've seen. I've actually sold one very similar, apart from it wasn't the Coronation example, but this is a Certina automatic chronometer Coronation with a beautiful subtle linen silver dial, original loom, all beautifully patinaed. It's just an absolutely gorgeous example, right down to the original crown. Case back, you know, this is just in wonderful condition, and to find a watch like this from this age in this kind of condition just doesn't happen often at all. Now, to get down to the specs and what this is and what's inside and everything like that, we're certainly going to do. So the reference to this beauty is 5801-200. Now inside here is the automatic chronometer Certina caliber 25-651, which is a modification on Certina's part, but a very, very good and reliable movement. And the watch is from circa 1966. So to think that this has gone that long and been kept in this good condition, it almost says that this was probably purchased as a very special achievement for whoever bought it in 1966, because this wasn't a watch they probably wore every day. This was worn on occasion and kept very, very good. So it's great to see, and it also means as collectors can get these kind of fine examples even after all these years, which is always nice. But let's show this one on wrist and talk dimensions. We go on my wrist, it sits very, very comfortably right there. This is 35mm by 41.5mm lug to lug, only 11mm thick and 18mm lugs. So endless options. We've paired it on this nice vintage style blue strap because I think it just really sort of complements the watch. But as always, blacks and browns will go perfectly well with this watch. And if you want to swap it out, just give us an email and we'll happily do that for you. But go check this one out on the website. Sticking to vintage and sticking to classic, there's this absolutely incredible value 18 karat pink gold Wyler Vetta. Let's have a closer look. Now onto something you really don't see often, and this is a gorgeous Wyler Vetta. A brand you really don't see, and one worth giving a read up on our website that we've done. This one's from circa 1970s and it is 18 karat pink gold. Yeah, you've seen that right. That is a reddy, pinky, rosy gold. Now, vintage rose gold was often called pink gold because it has a more pinky hue than today's rose gold, which has a more coppery tone. I personally really love these older pink golds because it really is warm, and against skin tone like mine, it's very wearable, whereas yellow gold can be a bit harsh sometimes. But this has its original Wyler signed crown. Nice plain case back as well, which is fantastic. And inside here is a manually wound ETA 2408, a very classic movement. And on it is a modern yellow gold W buckle. I don't know if that is actually Wyler. It was one we had, and I think it just sort of goes with the look. Yes, it's yellow. Yes, that's pink. But you know what? It is what it is, and I think it kind of goes. We've got it paired on this really nice brown strap, which just works as well. And again, super clean, super crisp, and just really, really nice. And when you see the price of this, to get a solid 18 karat gold watch at this kind of price, it's just very difficult to find any reason not to love it. So let's show it on wrist and talk dimensions. And here we go. So whilst dimension wise this is a bit smaller at 33mm by 39mm, you've got to remember this is more of a tonneau cushiony case rather than just a traditional round, so it does wear bigger than those dimensions would lead you to believe. Only 8mm thick, so it just hugs the wrist and sits super low. Very, very comfortable, and 18mm lug, so endless options on straps, although I feel like I've done a pretty good choice, and I think a lot of you will agree, so go check this one out on the website. I guess let's keep along the vintage theme. Let's go to this Austin skin diver, not something you see often. So those of you who know me will know I love a good skin diver, and this is one of them. This is an Austin skin diver, absolute gorgeous, 17 jewel automatic, and look at those hands and those numerals, they just pop. You know, the 12, the 6 and the 9 with the little numerals in there, and those hands really bold, the nice big lollipop seconds hand. It's just a really good looking watch, and a very affordable watch as well. Nice glossy dial which just really pops against the light, especially with this aluminium rotating bezel. Really, really cool. So this doesn't have a reference or serial number. It has got a screw down case back, which as you can see is nicely decorated, and inside is an automatic AS caliber 1700-1, and this watch is from circa 1960s, so you're getting a true 60s skin diver. Very, very cool design, very nice looking, and it's a very fair price. When you see it, you're going to actually be quite surprised, I suspect, when you see the price. But this is just a good looking watch. So let's show it on wrist and talk dimensions, because it's bigger than you'll probably believe. And here we go on my wrist. Look at that. This could pass as a modern watch just on dimensions alone. 38mm by 47mm lug to lug, only 12mm thick and 20mm lug, so endless options if you're not a fan of the strap combination. I think it looks pretty good, and it is a very comfortable watch, and one well worth checking out, especially for the price, so go take a look. From there to what will not come as a surprise to most of you who know me, but my favourite on the table, and one of the most affordable, that is this absolutely gorgeous Mido. Let's have a closer look. So Mido is a passion of mine. I have a couple in the personal collection. I'm always looking for really good examples, so when I came across this, I had to own it. I mean, look at that dial, look at that patina, the way it's aged, and this Francois Borgel case is just gorgeous. Nice Borgel crown. Yeah, you really can't go wrong with something like this, especially when you see the price. I'm still always amazed by how affordable these are, because people just haven't woken up to them. You know, people appreciate how special they are, but the prices don't reflect that, which is great for us collectors, because it means we can still get them for a very fair price. I mean, just look at this screw nut back. Really great condition overall. This is just a beautiful example. Now the reference to this one is 9409. It's from the circa 1950s, as you can tell by the design as well. And inside is a manually wound 15 jewel Felser, and it's just stunning. There isn't really much more I need to say. There's not really much more I want to say, because this is one of those watches where if it sticks around for a while, I'm really not too fussed at all, although I suspect it won't. So let's show it on wrist and talk dimensions. Here we go. It's certainly on the smaller side, but I like that about this watch. It is 33mm by 40mm lug to lug, only 10mm thick and 16mm lug, so endless options on straps. Nice drilled lug holes, so reuse the pins we put in there. But yeah, an absolute gorgeous watch and worth every penny, and it's not a lot of pennies. You might think it would be more, so go check it out. Now we're down to two watches on the table, and they're both very good value modern watches. We're actually going to start with the Seiko. Let's have a closer look. So next up is a Seiko or Laco, however you want to pronounce it. Everyone seems to pronounce it slightly different. Now this brand offers incredible value for money, and I really do think so. When you go see what the price is of this on the website for a blue Pilot watch that isn't insanely big at 42mm, you're going to be surprised. You know, it is automatic as well. So this is the Seiko. Well, the name's very difficult to pronounce, so you know what, I'm not going to butcher it. Go check it out on the website if you want to see the actual name, but the reference is 862100. Now inside here behind this NATO strap, if I can move that out of the way, is an automatic Seiko or Laco caliber 21, as they've called it, which for those of you who know your movements, you'll know that is a Miyota movement, so that's a modified Miyota. This one is from April 2020, and it does come with this box and paperwork. It's in fantastic condition, maybe worn like once or twice, to be honest. You can even tell that by the NATO. So yeah, a very good watch for the money, and it looks fantastic. But let's show on wrist and talk dimensions, because I don't think this one's going to last long at all. Here we go on my wrist. Just so you guys know, this is the original Seiko NATO strap, and the buckle is actually signed as well. But here we go, 42mm by 49mm lug to lug, only 12mm thick. So with the NATO, it adds a little bit of beefiness, but not too much. And 20mm lugs, so endless options if you're not a fan of the NATO. Although the grey and the blue and the grey of the case, which isn't sort of, it's almost like a bead blasted finish, looks fantastic. So go check this one out on the website. It is very, very affordable. And from there to a watch that was actually my own watch for a while. I sold it and then I bought it back off the gentleman who has moved on to other things. That is this absolutely awesome Citizen Eco Drive in black. Let's have a closer look. So next up is the final watch. Here we go. An absolutely awesome Citizen Eco Drive. This is titanium, all black, coated, as you can see, with a deep blue dial and a fitted black rubber strap. This is brilliant. I bought this brand new from H. Samuel, I think, because I just absolutely fell in love with the design, and when I put it on wrist, I enjoyed it myself for quite a while. Then I sold it on, and then I bought it back off the gentleman who's now bought something else. So, you know, that's the way this goes, and now I get to offer it again and get it back through onto my wrist just for a little while, which is really cool. So the exact reference to this one, I'm not going to bother. It will be on the website. You can see it if you're interested. Inside this is obviously a Citizen Eco Drive. For those of you that don't know, basically that dial is a basically like a solar panel, and it charges from the sun. So when you see your end of life indicator, which is when the second hand starts doing multiple jumps, just put it in the sun for a couple of hours and you'll be surprised. It would probably be already, you know, good to go and wear as normal. So a really cool watch. You've obviously got the date over there, and it's nice to see a titanium watch coated in black. That's a screw down crown as well, so keep that in mind. Black matching pin buckle as well. Thank you, Citizen, for doing that, especially at this price range. And this one's from May 21, 2021 with box and paperwork. But let's show it on wrist and talk dimensions. Here we go on my wrist. A really, really fun summer watch, in my opinion. You can't go wrong with this. Take it on holiday and you'll be fine. 43.5mm by 49.5mm lug to lug, so it's a big watch, but it's not over that 50mm, so it hugs the wrist nicely, especially on this rubber strap. Only 12mm thick and 22mm lugs, so if for whatever reason you want to swap out this really great looking strap, you can do, but I'd recommend keeping it on that. So go check it out on the website. So there you have it, guys and girls. That is this week's drop. A varied drop, as always, from a couple of £1,000 up to a couple of £100 and everything you can imagine in between, from vintage to modern. It's what we do, and it's what we do proudly, and I hope you guys enjoy it. We certainly enjoy this sort of varied selection. As a collector, this is like a dream, really. Every single week I get to play around with such cool watches in such different categories across the borders. It really is a dream come true, and I'm very, very thankful. And hopefully we can start doing a few things to sort of give back. You know, I'd like to think us pricing these as competitively as we do is giving back, but still I want to be able to give back a little bit more. Hence the pouches and cleaning cloth that you get with every order. And, you know, I've just got some more things in my mind that hopefully can become reality down the road. So keep an eye out for what they may be. If one of them that I've got in my mind comes to fruition, I think a lot of you are going to be very, very, very excited. So fingers crossed, there's a little tease for you guys. But yeah, thank you all very much for watching as always. I really do appreciate it. I hope you've enjoyed the Watches and Wonders releases, and we all know what's coming out, and we all know what we need to save our money for or admire and never be able to get, whatever it may be. But at the end of the day, these are available and these you can get. So check these out. We'll see you all again next time. Take care.